I'm Howie Lim. This is Money Hacks by the Business Times. Okay, so we might be a little late with our wallet guardrails since Christmas and New Year's are over, but the Lunar New Year is around the corner. Amid all the joy and cheer the end of the year brings, the holidays can be hectic and expensive. How can we keep financial stress at bay and not take the joy away from this spring festival? Welcome to Money Hacks, a podcast series by the Business Times, where we explore useful financial tips to help you on your money managing and wealth growing journey. I'm Howie Lim. And if you have feedback or an idea for a podcast episode, do get in touch, btpodcasts at sph.com.sg. Now, according to a report by the United Nations in 2022, some 2 billion people celebrate the Lunar New Year. And the tradition which arguably induces the most financial stress is the giving of cash in red envelopes. Plus, as many receive their annual bonuses around this time, the question becomes, should we dip into these funds to supplement our spending, or is there a smarter way to manage our finances? Joining us today with a survival guide for your wallet this Lunar New Year are Dhanesh Sharma, Financial Services Manager at PhillipCapital, and Seth Wee, content creator and finfluencer from Satisfy.com.
Hi, Howie. I think the number one thing you can do is actually to set a budget on what you want to spend on the festive season. And it shouldn't, of course, compromise your other goals. So you need to allocate between your short-term, middle-term, and long-term goals, as well as whatever you want to celebrate, be it during festive seasons or maybe, if you're planning a holiday to get away during the Chinese New Year.
Right. Always a staple, setting a budget. And easier said than done. I hope you're not traveling this time, though. Prices can easily double.
Take advantage of discounts, compare prices, and use cashback or reward programs to stretch your budget further. It's also wise to limit credit card usage. Stick to cash or debit cards whenever possible. If you must use credit, have a plan to pay off the balance promptly. Lastly, prioritize needs over wants.
Dhanesh Sharma is Financial Services Manager at PhillipCapital. He also feels saving face may be our downfall and not saving grace.
Yeah, so during this festive season, it's easy to fall into these pitfalls, right? But with a little planning, I think they can be avoided. One of the biggest challenges is overspending on gifts or gatherings, often driven by the pressure to impress. So impulse purchases fueled by holiday sales and promotions, and last-minute shopping can also strain finances. Another trap is relying too heavily on credit cards or buy now, pay later without a clear repayment plan, leading to unnecessary debt. To avoid these pitfalls, I encourage my clients to shop smart. Start by creating a thoughtful shopping list to avoid impulse buys and focus on meaningful gifts or celebrations.
One of the most obvious things would be overspending on gifts or, dining, right? Because it's the festive season, everybody feels good. But I think we have to be mindful that, the festive season is also one of the ways that retailers use to try to get us to overspend. So we have to be very mindful of managing our spending during these seasons. Another pitfall would be the excessive use of credit cards to, spend beyond one's means. Again, due to, the festive mood, right? We tend to spend way too much, and credit cards and buy now, pay later apps, they make it a little bit too easy. And, it's always during the year ends where they roll out extra promos for you to spend more. So I really think that we need to be very mindful of our spending during the year-end season.
So Dhanesh and Seth Wee from Satisfy.com both agree credit cards are a no-no and a huge pitfall, but I feel it depends on what it means to you to overspend. If you can plan ahead and purchase gifts over a few months, you can avoid feeling the pinch of holiday costs all at once. If that's not an option, I guess it's okay to use debt to support the holiday experience you want, but make sure you understand how credit cards work and make a plan for how you'll deal with the debt come February.
The most meaningful celebrations are often simple and cost-effective.
A little challenging when one has a big family. Maybe creating that detailed budget we were talking about would help. And I mean detailed. Analyze your income and expenses from the previous month, then plan your festive spending. Make sure to include all bills, repayments, or debt. Still to come, more tips on how to plan your festive spending and how to avoid those pitfalls on overspending this holiday season with content creator Seth Wee and Dhanesh Sharma from PhillipCapital.
Lens on Singapore is now bigger and better. The same deep dive exploration of socioeconomic and geopolitical issues which impact our lives here in Singapore and the region is now a video podcast. If watching a conversation is your thing, join Claressa Monteiro in monthly conversations about things that matter. Subscribe to the BT Lens On playlist in the podcast tab of the Business Times YouTube channel and start watching today. BT Lens On Singapore, now available in audio and video.
And now, back to Money Hacks from the Business Times.
Welcome back. We've been trying to figure out if we can keep financial stress at bay and not take the joy away from the Spring Festival. Here's Dhanesh Sharma, a financial services manager from PhillipCapital.
Always pay yourself first. Get yourself sorted out first, and then worry about what you're going to give. Because if you have nothing for yourself, what are you going to give? In the community or the people that I hang out with, everyone's very giving, very generous. So there's this, it could be a need to show off maybe. So that they feel this need to show off and give bigger gifts, bigger red packets. So I've seen that happen, and it doesn't end well.
Dhanesh sure hangs out with some altruistic people, but that sounds like good advice. Pay yourself first. Can't help anyone or give gifts if you're broke. So it's definitely a good idea to be mindful of the budget and that you've allocated some for yourself. Here's content creator Seth Wee.
Yeah, I think the first thing we have to do is to be very mindful about our spending, right? So we have to set budgets on how much we want to allocate to this particular festive season and then not exceed them. So there are apps that actually allow you to track your spending and where it goes to. So I know some bank apps, they actually show you, okay, how much are going to shopping and dining this month. And there are also third-party apps that help you keep track of your different credit cards and which areas you are spending more on.
So there's always this fear if we plan too late, or is it too late? Have I missed the ship? I feel it's never too late. We're going to live long lives. We're going to live very long lives, so we can always start now. About receiving money, there are many ways we can allocate. First of all, we try to set up a short-term fund for something more immediate. It could be for your emergency savings, especially if you're in a situation where you haven't really planned. Getting your short-term sorted out is more important. So we could do that through savings accounts, through instruments that we have at Phillip as well. And then we can start talking about the longer term. And that would be more towards your retirement, sending your kids for school.
I guess it's never too late to start, but it sure sounds like it might be best to start 26th December, 2nd January, or whenever 2 is, or the second day of the Spring Festival. Plus, many of us are just getting our 13th month or bonuses. It may be a challenge to not just splash out for a prosperous new year, right?
I would personally treat my bonus as part of my annual income. So it should not be treated differently from your, normal monthly income. So the same allocations still apply, right? If you have, if you follow this thing called 50, 30, 20 rule, right? Where 50% is allocated for certain or long-term goals, 30% for needs, 20% for wants. I mean, there are different variations of this. Yeah, your annual bonus should not deviate too much from this just because it's given at a lump sum at the end of the year, right? You should treat it as part of your overall compensation package, and then you allocate them to your savings, your expenditure accordingly.
Yep, always good to think about strategically managing our annual bonuses and balancing celebration and our financial well-being. A big thank you to Seth Wee, content creator and finfluencer from Satisfy.com, and Dhanesh Sharma, financial services manager at PhillipCapital.
Thank you.
Yep, happy holidays.
And don't forget to send us an email if you have feedback or an episode idea, btpodcasts@sph.com.sg. I'm Howie Lim, wishing you 蛇年吉祥如意. May the year of the snake be filled with good fortune and success. Happy Lunar New Year. This has been Money Hacks from the Business Times.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts. Or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.